maturity. It takes real faith, which is the topic of our sermon series here. It takes real faith to rejoice when the money runs out. It takes real faith to rejoice when your health just is not there. It takes real faith to rejoice when somebody stabs you in the back. People turn on you. It takes real faith to rejoice. It takes real faith, y'all, to stay positive in a negative world. We live in a negative world. I was just talking to somebody last night about that. How our society is in decay. We think we're all that in a bag of chips. We think we got it going on. But man has less love for his fellow man than he has ever had. The idea now is from Aleister Crowley's book, The Book of Shadows, which is the witch's Bible. Their motto, their creed is do as thou wilt as long as it harm none. In other words, just do what you want to as long as it ain't hurt nobody. Do what you want to do. Do what makes you feel good. You know that's why God sent the flood? Those exact words. They was eating and drinking and was merry and just doing to everybody what was ever the desire of their hearts. That's the attitude we have today. Do what you want to do. Be you. Be happy. It takes real faith to stay positive in a negative world. Divine wisdom also gives us an awareness of how frail life really is. You see, wisdom helps us understand that earthly riches can't compare to eternal riches. The riches and the success of this life are short-lived. That's why so many people are so unhappy. Because that thing that you're reaching for, you finally get it. You got it in your hands. Well, there's the next thing. And then that's why they call it the ladder. You got to keep climbing those rungs because you got to keep reaching, because whenever you get what you're reaching for, you want the next thing. That's why so many people are so unhappy. The riches and success of this life are short-lived. Now, I'm not telling you just to sit back and settle and not make nothing of yourself. Hey, by all means, we need more Christians out there who will become doctors and lawyers and business people and express their faith in their profession. We need that. Really, we do. But I'm just telling you, remember where the important things are. James tells us that everything's temporary. He said it's like the grass in the field. The sun comes out and it withers and it's gone. Like I said, God's Word doesn't condemn wealth, only put an emphasis on wealth. That's what God's Word condemns. And James wants us to know that the source of our rejoicing isn't in wealth, or the lack of, as far as that goes. The source of our rejoicing ought to be in Jesus. We ought not ask for trials and troubles so we can rejoice. That's crazy. We ought to be able to rejoice in them when they come. But the source of our rejoicing is not what's going on in our lives. It's Jesus. That ought to be the source of your rejoicing. And wisdom also finally helps us to be happy when we're tested. In verse 12, blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him. We're all going to be tested at some point in our lives. You may be being tested right now, this very second. But do you know testing is what proves our faith? Now, I could go into the whole thing about being tested in fire and how fire is a strengthening thing and a purifying thing. I'm not going to go into that. But testing is what proves your faith. Blessed people are people who don't need anything to rejoice. Only faith. That's all they need to rejoice. This crown of life is not what a lot of people think it is, by the way. It's not a royal crown. It's a victor's crown. That's what it is. If you think back to the Roman games, the victor, they would come up and they would put a wreath a crown wreath on him. And that was the victor's crown. Nobody else got it but the one who overcame, the one who was the victor. This crown of life is the victor's crown. That's the reason the one who overcomes, the one who holds out, the one who makes it will receive the victor's crown. And yes, I realize theologically there's a lot more to the crown of life than that, but I want you to understand it's not a royal crown, that is a victor's crown. It is what you're going through right now, whatever trial it is, whatever hardship it is, whatever heartache you're having, you have a victor's crown waiting on you at the finish line, y'all. Mercy Me does a song that I just squall every time I hear it. And I think about me and Angela and the things we've been through and what some of y'all have been through. And the song is Almost Home. And it talks about, hey, I know your life's been hard. I know you've been sick. I know you've had these problems. But just keep going. Keep struggling. Keep fighting. You're almost home. Whew, I got glory bumps again. Y'all, this life is hard. Life is hard. But y'all, we're almost home. No more fighting. No more struggling. No more heartache. No more hurt. We're almost home. I've got a home in heaven waiting on me where I ain't got to worry about none of this. I don't have to worry about losing loved ones and all this junk, all this stuff that the world throws at me. Material things that don't matter. We're almost home. Being able to weather the storms of life, y'all, that's a manifestation of your salvation is what that is. If you're born again, a child of God, and you can weather the storms of life, it doesn't mean that you're tough. It might make you tough over time, but it doesn't mean that you're a tough person. It means that you have salvation and you have something to lean on besides yourself, besides wealth, besides things. You could lean on God. Listen, learning to rejoice and be content, no matter what your circumstance is, takes real faith. It really does. It requires learning to trust God and not things, not circumstances. Listen, we're promised a crown of life. We're promised the victor's crown when we overcome. Keep plugging along, y'all. And listen, if you are not saved, if you have not given your heart and life to Jesus Christ, you need to do that, because if you have not, this is your home and there is no greater hope for you. All you have to look forward to is rot and decay and things wearing out and nothing everlasting. Nothing everlasting. That's all you have to hope for. Don't you want to know that you're almost home? Don't you want to know that you've got a glorious... Man, me and Angela, we've got hooked on reality shows. We've been watching this show called The Mole. And they're somewhere in Australia at the Great Barrier Reef at some resort. Oh my gosh, y'all. That's new on my bucket list now. I want to go to this resort. It is absolutely beautiful. I mean, soothing, comforting, that kind of deal, you know? And I can only imagine, for I have not seen, nor ear heard, nor has entered into the heart of man what the Lord has in store for us. I mean, I get it. I can only imagine. When Mercy Me wrote that song, I can only imagine. And even still, in my wildest imagination, I can't fathom the wonder, the glory, the beauty, the love that's waiting on me on the other side. When I get my victor's crown, when I cross the finish line. If you're a child of God, you have that to look forward to. If you're not, quite simply, you don't. You don't. I want to ask Allie to come with a song of invitation.